Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have an interview with a very special guest, Emily Penton, or other known as Inner Clarity System. Hey Emily, how's your day?
Hi, good. So good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's sick. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and how you found the carnivore diet?
Yeah, absolutely. I started the carnivore diet because I was debilitating. I had debilitating mental illness, and
Yeah.
that didn't work very well for me because I worked in mental health. I was a therapist or a counselor, and so I was able to work like 3 days a week, and then all the other days of the week I was in bed. I had bipolar disorder.
Okay.
So I had these cycles where I could function and then I would crash, and I could function and then I would crash. And it got into the end of 2018, it got into rapid cycling where I wouldn't know who I was from each
Wow.
day to the next. Sometimes it was even in the same day. Like I would start out the day with all my clients and I would be fine. And then by 11 a.m., all of a sudden I would just feel it start to come in. And I would have to reschedule my whole afternoon and go to bed because my depression was debilitating. Like I couldn't even like pick up my phone. It was just I was really paralyzed by anxiety and depression. And then I started like I said, rapid cycling, and it got so bad, it became unethical for me to practice.
Yeah.
Um, and I moved in with my mom at age 40. So it was just like, what? I have my master's degree in clinical counseling, and now I moved in with my mom. Like, what is my life? Like, this is, and then it was more depressing that I was living with my mom and I wasn't paying my own bills. And my brother reached out to me and he told me about the carnivore diet and that there were people who resolved their bipolar disorder eating meat and fat. And I was just like, you know what? I am so beyond miserable. I will do anything. So I just tried it. On February 24th of 2019, I started eating only animal meat and animal fat, and I prioritized the fat. I made sure that I ate plenty of fat, and I stopped eating ice cream and donuts and entire pizzas by myself and entire cartons of ice cream. And when I would make like chocolate chip cookies, I would make two batches so that I could eat the dough of one batch and then I could eat the cookies of the other batch. Like I was out of control.
Yeah.
Wine, beer, liquor. Uh, I didn't stop. I did eat meat, but it was just like a portion of my plate. It was
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 ounces with the meal,
Yeah.
mainly carbs and sugar. And then I had this knowing that came over me whenever I started eating this way. It was like my body was like, yes, like finally she's listening, and this is what we need. And then 3 weeks into eating this way, I was hospitalized and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So a logical person would say, oh, I started this all meat diet and now I'm hospitalized with MS and diagnosed with MS.
Wow.
Maybe I shouldn't do this meat diet. But it was that knowing that I knew that if I was doing this for anti inflammation for the mental illness, with the MS, it's an autoimmune disease. I'm doing this for the anti inflammation for the MS. So I just kept on. And my doctors kept telling me that they wanted me to inject myself with medication for multiple sclerosis. They kept telling me that I was going to end up in a wheelchair. And it got really scary because I couldn't walk without an assistive device. I had a walker and a cane, and I couldn't talk. I had delayed and slurred speech. Like I would go tell my son, go take a bath. And it would come out, go take a bath.
Wow.
And so that didn't work well for me to go back to being a therapist again. I can't even talk. I can't walk. I can't think. but I kept on and I kept on. And on April of 2019, I had my last manic or depressive episode. And on May 9th of 2019, I had my last MS symptom. And today I go to CrossFit. I work out every morning at 5 a.m. I've been working full time since June of 2019, and I had my last psych med in September of 2019, and I lost 120 pounds.
Wow. You just chuck in the 120 pounds at the end there like it's nothing. That is that is crazy. You've literally gone, your life has gone full 180. And so good on you for sticking it through because most people when they had that sort of scare with the MS and a lot of the doctors I can imagine they might have been saying, "Oh, maybe it's this new diet you're doing. You should probably want to stop. Maybe you need more vegetables or something." So that's so good on you for sticking it through and yeah, having that sort of willpower and the drive to, seek for a better life. And that's awesome. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you do and yeah, about what you do and how the carnivore diet plays into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went back to work in June of 2019, I worked at a private practice. I didn't own the private practice, but I worked in a private practice, had clients and everything. And then I quickly realized that licensing board and the insurance panels don't want me talking about food. It's they want me to diagnose the client and then to say what the treatment plan is and all the options for the treatment plan. None of them are about food. So I felt like I was sitting across from these depressed people or with anxiety or bipolar disorder, and I felt like my hands were tied behind my back, and
Yeah.
I was like, I know what could help you, but I can't tell you.
Did you end up telling anyone or no, you just had to stay strict and you couldn't? Surely you just sort of
No, I definitely told people. I definitely told people. I didn't get in trouble. I got out of Dodge before I got in trouble. My what happened was my license was up for renewal,
oh
and I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't need letters behind my name. The whole reason that I got into this practice of is to help people. And so if I can't do that effectively, then I'm going to go and be a coach. I don't care what you call me. I just want to help people.
yeah.
And so I started my YouTube channel and I started my Instagram in July of 2019, and I started my YouTube channel in January of 2020. And then I've just been able to help people all over the world.
Wow.
And I think that's the really cool part is it wasn't limited to my town that I can help people. Now I can help people all over the world through Zoom and through coaching. And it's just been phenomenal because as a therapist, it was like Groundhog Day. Like I would have the same client come in every week and we would talk about the same problems and they wouldn't get better. And we would just talk
Mm.
about them and we would troubleshoot them and we would have a game plan and we would have a treatment plan and everything. This, I get to talk to them about reducing the inflammation in their brain and then they do it and I hold them accountable and we stay in communication. And then they get into like day 30 and they're like, I didn't even know that I could feel this good. And then I know they're sold and they want to do this low carb stuff for life. So it's so cool watching people transform before my very eyes.
That must be such a amazing feeling just to see it and to actually know that you had some sort of influence in that. Obviously, it was like their work, but you planted the seeds and, gave them the knowledge. And also because you've struggled a lot with stuff that maybe your patients may be going through, you can actually empathize with them, and that would actually help because, you can be like, I know how you feel. I've been there. Yeah.
But
So,
you're right. I mean, it makes a huge difference whenever you can jump in the puddle with someone and go, "Oh my gosh, I get how that feels." Instead of a therapist being like, so how does that make you feel? You know, like bleh. Like I don't want to sit there and share my story with you. Like I would much rather talk to somebody who's like, "Oh my gosh, I remember when I was crazy. Yeah, that sucked." and
Yeah.
to say, okay, now we're in the pit. Let me show you the way out.
Yeah. And also I've been to a few like therapists or psychologists in the past, and although they're good, they focus entirely just on the mental health. Um and yeah, just the talking aspect, but don't actually focus on like your gut or like the way that your brain connects to your body and nutrition and the fuel you're putting into your body, which is like it's the fuel you're fueling your body with. It's so important. Um, so I really think it's sick that, or do you want to tell us more about how you sort of push that nutritional area into, mixing with that with the mental health stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it all starts with your food. Because I don't think whenever somebody comes to me and they're like, I'm so mentally ill, and I'm like, actually, we don't really know how mentally ill you are and how you are just having reactions to food.
Yeah.
Because it's possible that this isn't all mental illness, that a lot of this is just you reacting to like red dye 40 or you reacting to sugar or carbs. And so what's really cool is that all we do is just remove that. And so then we do like an elimination diet. We get to a baseline of animal meat and animal fat. And then once they do that for 45 days, then we reintroduce one new food a week. Like reintroduce broccoli if you want to reintroduce broccoli. That's fine. Just see if you have a reaction to it. And that helps them to make that shift mentally instead of thinking, I'm never going to get to eat broccoli again. I'm never going to get to have this again. No, we're just talking about 45 days.
Mm.
Like, just go through that time and then you kind of clear out the noise. And then you can see exactly what is mental illness and what is me having an adverse reaction to food.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people and don't actually think that, oh, maybe it's the food that's making me feel crap. Like me, I was diagnosed with depression. It's just like a chemical thing, and it's not. I was just malnourished. Now I'm not depressed. It's no one thinks it's just like maybe it's the food that you're putting into your body could be making you feel this way. And I just think it's so overlooked in society. It's always the doctors, throwing pills, drugs, you're diagnosed with this. Here's the quick, easy solution. But I think what you're doing is great because you're trying to address the root cause and a holistic approach from ground up, everything. Are there any certain things that when you tell them about having animal fat or protein that they sort of did they have a bit of a pushback and say, "Oh, my cholesterol" and stuff like that? And how do you go about that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always sending them videos from Paul Saladino, from Dr. Ken Berry, because those are the doctors. Those are the ones that they know about cholesterol. I'm not trained in cholesterol, all I know is my experience. And that's another thing that I really like about being a coach is I can just share from my experience. I don't have to be this like expert. And there's so much research out there that tells people, the truth about cholesterol and not the narrative that we've been fed.
Yeah, I've actually seen a bit of research showing that ketogenic diets actually have shown in some cases to have better effects than psychiatric medications. And obviously, the carnivore diet is a form of ketogenic diet because you're in a state of ketosis. What do you think is actually going on there with the brain? Do you think that most people just run better on ketones and low carb? Like, what do you think is that sort of going on in the brain there?
Yeah, like I said, I really don't understand the science. I just know for me, whenever I did start checking my ketones, I noticed that I'm just more clear on those days that my ketones were higher. And that's just my personal experience. And I mean, it makes sense. Whenever you watch some of the videos that have the research, it just makes sense. And then, oh my gosh, I don't know if he's even on your radar or not, but Dr. Chris Palmer is just come out with a book called Brain Energy, and he's a Harvard professor or Harvard doctor, and he actually goes through all the science of exactly why the ketogenic diet is helping people with mental illness. I am so excited for that.
Is it called Brain Energy?
It is called Brain Energy
All
by
right, I'll
Dr.
write it down.
Palmer.
Is it out yet or is still working on it?
Um, it's being shipped right now. So
Okay.
you can order it. I already pre-ordered it like
Um,
months ago.
so what's your thoughts on the whole carnivore space? Do you think that, there's a lot of people who have similar stories to you, crazy anecdotal transformation. Do you think that this will just get so loud and we can't ignore it and it'll start to go mainstream and everyone will know about it? Or what's your thoughts on the future of?
I I mean, yes, that would be amazing, but I also being in the position that I'm at, I see the thousands of people who witness me on a daily basis and don't ever make a change. So, yes, I'm hopeful for the people that hear us. I'm hopeful for the people that recognize their sovereignty. They recognize that they are in control of taking responsibility for their health. But there are still those people who I don't know what the component is. Like I really I haven't studied it enough because I don't try to put too much energy in the people that don't listen to me. I just
100%.
try and because there's so many people that do listen to me, so I just shift my energy to them. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the component is in them that they just won't try it. But the people who do try it, it is amazing to see that. And what I told people, I tell people all the time, is that carnivore is a tool. It is not the be all end all. It's just like this little gateway drug. Like, just try it. Just try it and remove everything and then reintroduce one new food a week. It's not this like be all end all thing. It's just a tool that you can try for a time.
Yeah. And when your patients did actually start reintroducing foods, did they even want to reintroduce foods? Because obviously you said at the start, but like, who wants to eat broccoli? Like, no one actually likes broccoli. Come on.
I know it's so funny. And whenever they do, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm bloated and I have horrible diarrhea and like, oh, I'm so tired." And I'm just like, hmm, guess you don't need to eat your veggies, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I can tell them that from day one, but they have to do their own experiment. They have to feel what that feels like. And then they are the expert on themselves and they know how to recreate their own scientific experiment down the road. If they're like, I have a theory that, I don't know, uh, sweet potatoes increase my blood glucose. Okay, don't eat sweet potatoes for 45 days, check your blood glucose, and then eat a sweet potato and check your blood glucose. You're the scientist. You're the expert. You can do that. You could easily do that.
Yeah. I find it's really empowering to know that you have this control over your health because before it's like, oh, some days I might wake up, I might feel depressed or I might not. So, or like even things like cancer or heart attack, it's like, oh, maybe it's just genetic. Who knows? I might get cancer. And I'm not saying in the kind of that you won't get cancer, but I think that your rate is heavily reduced and just, yeah, and just it's really empowering just to know that, okay, maybe this isn't just something I'm stuck with for life and taking responsibility for that and knowing, okay, the food I put into my body, if I decide to cheat, I'm going to feel crap after. And just having that accountability, I think, is so empowering, knowing that you can change your health, which I think a lot of people are missing. Yeah, because
Absolutely. And I mean, Daniel, I when I look back at the crossroads that I was at, I was either going to the psych ward with my mental health or I was going to the nursing home with my autoimmune disease because people with MS usually they get to the point where they can't hold their bowels.
yeah,
So they have to be in diapers and they have to have like care 20, especially if you're in a wheelchair and you can't even move. Or I was going to kill myself. I mean, I was so depressed. I was like, I'm not even functioning. I'm of no use to my family. I'm of no use to society. Like, I don't even want to be here. And so eating this way is obviously the better option. like going back is just it's so clear that this was the choice for me. And honestly, I'll never go back. Like I'll never go back. And what's really cool is that once you learn this, you can't unsee it. It's just
100%.
like there.
It's sort of it's really cool, but it's also a little bit sad. It's like a sad truth because you'd like to think when you look around in, society and look around if someone's fat or like, if someone's sick, you'd like to think, oh, I feel sorry for them. There's nothing they can do about it. But like we actually understand that no, there's things we can do about it. And most of the time it's not their fault. They're just following what the government's told them or the lies that they've been told by nutrition. So what's it like now being on the other side of recovering from all of this and just feeling amazing? What's it like? And is there anything, because I'm sure there's some viewers watching who maybe are similar to where you were. Do you want to give them some hope or tell them what it's like? Yeah,
It's indescribable. It's like going to a place that you've never even heard of before, a place that you didn't even know existed. It's like I didn't know how good felt because I'd never experienced it. I remember the first time that I was eating carnivore, and I think it was like 4 weeks in, I had a glimpse of hope and joy. And I was like, what is this emotion? Like, I didn't, it was so foreign to me. And then, like, the next day, it only lasted for like 10 minutes. And the next day, it happened again, and it lasted for like 15 minutes. And then it just got more and more and more. And now it is like my life. Like, I literally can't have a bad day. There's literally like I could have a flat tire, I could have no money in my bank account, I could have an argument with a family member. It doesn't matter. Like nothing touches me. I'm Teflon and I am titanium. Like
also because you
everything.
you
Go
knew how
ahead.
bad you used to be. So in comparison to that, a flat tire, who gives a crap? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Everything is now in perspective that it's just like, okay, I've been from the pit of mental illness hell. Like nothing can touch that. And
Exactly.
so I feel joy. And what's really crazy is I've been on this journey now for 3 years. This next February, it will be 4 years since I've been eating
Wow.
that way. And I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. And I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. It keeps getting better.
I can't wait.
It's crazy. I'm serious. Carnivore was the gateway drug. And then it got me to the place where I was, because one of the reasons why I work with my clients so well is that I'm able to do the initial triage. I'm able to stop the bleeding by
Yeah.
getting them on the carnivore diet. But then we got to deal with the mess. We got to
Mm,
deal with, okay, you were sexually abused as a child. Okay, you have three divorces. Okay, your children aren't speaking to you. Okay, this is wrong and that is wrong. Basically, like a tornado path of mental illness.
mm,
And I'm able to use my skills to be able to help them navigate it. But now they have the capacity to.
100%.
Before, they were so mentally ill. I would be sitting here talking to them and they'd be like, huh? Yeah, okay, I need to process my childhood trauma. Okay, okay. They're just trying to survive. They're just trying to get through the day. And now I'm able to, now they're like, da 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 da, like I feel good. I'm like, okay, great. Now we can deal with this. And they're like, bet. They're like, let's go. Like, yes, I'm ready. And they are able to exponentially heal. And it is
Oh
the
yeah.
most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, I find that as well because similar with me, I like knew about exercise and knew about the mental thought process. The psychologist was saying, or challenge your thought process and do all these things. But I just couldn't do it because I just had no energy. I just had this brain fog. And then once that one missing piece, the carnival diet, now I can just do it. I can start to actually heal and do all these things. So what you said is 100% spot on. And Yeah, I think that's the one missing piece. A lot of like coaches or psychologists or like think they miss that one thing because it's really important. And so what's since you've had this like crazy transformation, what's your friends and family's thoughts been just seeing you lose 120 pounds and just recover from everything? What's their thoughts been?
Well, it's been good and it's been bad. I have some family members that don't accept me still. Um, and they like just see me as mentally ill. And I don't even know if they watch my YouTube channels. I don't know if they look at my posts on Facebook. I don't know. But they are still just like, okay, don't talk to her. Like she's the crazy one. And before I was like, yeah, I'm the crazy one. And now I'm like, oh no, no, I'm stable now. Like, but I just, like I said, with the other energy, I just don't focus on those people. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, next. And then there's the other people that see me and they're like, oh my gosh, like you're a different person because they saw me walking with a walker. They saw me going through multiple relationships and yelling and being irritable, and especially my kid. I mean, he saw me like through all of it. I mean, poor kid, his whole first 11 years of his life, he had a very mentally ill mom. And now he's really enjoying have a mentally stable, emotionally available mom. So it's definitely an incredible experience.
Yeah, is your kid on the carnival diet or no?
No, I thankfully he's 14 and so he doesn't drive yet. And so I can control the foods that are in the house. And I don't want to be such a
Yeah,
dictator
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
he's going to go and rebel. And
100%.
so I just make better choices for him. Like I have better choices available for him. If he could have Takis, he would go have Takis. If he could have soda, he would go have soda or pizza or whatever. It's just not readily available to him.
Yeah,
And when he leaves the house to go with his grandparents or whatever, he can have whatever. He and then he always feels bad afterwards. And I'm like, but he's definitely not carnivore.
yeah,
He's almost like rebelling. Like he's like, I'm not gonna be a carnivore. I'm like, okay. So
yeah. I feel like you can't. Sorry, go.
I'm hoping maybe he'll come around.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like you can't really force it on people. I found you just gotta keep doing you, and they'll see you change and grow, and then maybe they're like, hang on a sec, maybe I want to be a part of this. Maybe I want to try it. But yeah, so thank you so much for coming on today. It was great to speak with you. You had an amazing, amazing story. Everyone go subscribe and follow to her on all her socials. So do you want to say your socials and they'll be listed below as well.
Actually, they can all just find me at emilypenton.com.
EmilyPenton.com. All right, sweet. There'll be a link below for everyone to find. So make sure you go check her out. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Daniel. What you and Ed are doing is revolutionary. To have young people in this community who are speaking up and saying what their experience is and what they're learning. And so we need your voice so much. And I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you. See ya.